Welcome back, everyone, to the third segment of the November edition of Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz. Archbishop, Martine was terrific.
Yeah, she is such a gem, professional, but also very caring. We're blessed to have her service and presence.
Yeah, we sure are. Now, we have another special guest with us today. John Laun is with us. John is the chairperson of the Archdiocese of Louisville Sexual Abuse Review Board. This is an important committee in the Archdiocese that goes back to 2002. And before we get a chance to answer some questions, John, let's tell everyone a little bit about you. John and his wife, Ann, are parishioners of St. Francis in Mount Washington, Kentucky. They're parents of 4 adult children and 2 grandchildren, which I know is one of your great loves of your life, spending time with them. And John is a retired district court judge in Bullitt County and is also retired from the practice of law. So he's got a little life of leisure now. But we keep him busy because he does a great deal of service for us in the Archdiocese. So John, welcome, Archbishop.
Yeah, and John, it has really been a pleasure to come to know you and to know your selfless service and professional service.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't know about the Archdiocesan Review Board. Tell us a little bit about the work, because you're the one chairing that committee.
Archbishop, the review board was formed in 2002, and at that time we were brought together to advise Archbishop Kelly on allegations of sexual abuse that the church received involving church personnel. And the review board brings together people, doctors, lawyers, nurses, hospital administrators from all different walks of life who are active Catholics, but also active in the lives of children. We assess those allegations, determine whether or not they're credible, to make a recommendation to you. That was our primary function. The second thing we've done is to review fitness for ministry on people, and again, make recommendations to you on whether or not they are fit for ministry. Then the third thing, we kind of review the policies and procedures of the education of the kids and the training of the adult volunteers to see if there need to be changes or modifications to them.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is unique, actually 2 things. One is that one of the members of the review board is actually himself someone who is a victim survivor of abuse. The second thing that's a joy for me really is that I participate.
Yes.
I have a chance to be part of that. So it's one thing to receive a report, but really to be able to hear the interaction and the dialogue and to join in has been really a gift. Thank you, John, for the way you've led.
You're welcome. But going there, I've always thought in my mind that as a lay-led board, we are still strong individuals. I don't know if back in your days as being a pastor, if people would say, well, what does Father want to do? And whatever he wants is fine with me. Our board has been a little bit different in that the strong voices will tell what they think.
That's exactly right.
And it kind of let it all hang out. I mean, and it's not, well, Archbishop, what do you think? Or Brian, what do you think?
Yeah.
In, I guess, the 16 years that we've been meeting, there's never been a chance where people have not spoken up or shared their concerns.
Yeah, I think it's, a lot of times people say, well, is this rubber stamp?
Yes.
And this is anything but rubber stamp, you're right. Sometimes people don't remember, they don't realize that the lay involvement is something that is so essential. It's been going on for a time. We can always get better at it, but you're a good example of it. Thank you, John.
John, you're long practice in the courts and the law, so you've seen lots of different kinds of ways processes happen. What's the particular value, as you've done this for 16 years, that you think has brought to this local diocese?
You know, when I think about that, I think about in the 70s, I was on the parish council, and we talked about many things, but we did not talk about finances. That was always father's business or sister's business. Then in the 90s, I got involved in the finance council, and all of a sudden parishioners were shared financial details of the parish, and they started taking ownership of things. Now in the 2000s, you're sharing personnel decisions, and lay people are having input in the issues affecting the church. And as I look back over this 50 years almost since Vatican II, I think the Holy Spirit is working to build the church. to rebuild the church in some areas where we've made mistakes. But I think that as I look at it, we are different eyes and ears to you, to give you a viewpoint. And maybe you're saying, I didn't think of that.
Right.
Or we're saying, consider that.
No, I think I can testify that that's exactly what's happening, John. And I like your insights into it. And it takes trust, it takes humility to listen to true dialogue. And I've been impressed by it. I have to give you a great credit, and really every member of the committee for that.
Yeah.
John, if you look at it from the viewpoint of how it has touched you personally, you just mentioned a little bit about this, but we've been dealing with some very difficult situations, whether it's something recent or something years ago. How has it had an effect on you personally?
It hurts. It hurts so deep. And I thought of this when you had the recent day of fasting and prayer.
Yeah.
And we had that service.
Last month.
A survivor came up and said to me, I can't change my past. I'm trying to learn how to accept my past. And on this committee, what we're talking about is almost 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and then trying to make a step forward. The hurt that has been caused by really just a few individuals lives on, and it affects people's faith and their trust.
Yeah.
And even these most recent revelations about the higher-ups of the church, it makes people who are not abuse victims or survivors, it affects their trust in their leaders.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Yeah.
You know, to me, we are restoring trust again.
In many ways, I know I always talked about trust being restored like watching a plant grow. I mean, you get rid of trust very quickly.
Yes.
But to restore trust is painful. And we know it in families, and it's true in the church. So I would have to say personally that I have felt that too. Being able to interact with truly other adults, to talk with in a way that we respect each other, we talk freely. I think not only do I come away with a stronger opinion, but I think the reality of the hurt of someone who's been abused, and even the most recent issues that have come up, someone who may have been abused 50 years ago, it all comes to the surface again.
Yes.
And we really have to be very gentle and kind, and also firm in our decisions to make sure that we're ensuring the safety of people. Brian, you also have done an awful lot. Thank you for what you've done in that.
Sure, Archbishop. John, Archbishop in the earlier segment mentioned about that the Catholic people want to see action. Help us discuss a little bit about a way forward. We've been at this a long time under your good leadership. How do we move forward for the sake of the Catholic people?
To me, that's hard to put into words, but what I think is number one that I've noticed is the education start with our children, to make them aware of unsafe situations or unsafe behaviors. But they're aware of it now, and thankfully there's a difference. In 16 years ago, the way we did business and the way we're doing business now in terms of education of our children in the schools, where we have programs of what I want to just say, appropriate behaviors, inappropriate behaviors. Number two, the training of our adults of how to act, how to talk to kids. And third, I mean, what I'm wanting, a different change is the training of our priest of what is appropriate behavior, what is appropriate comments to say to young people.
John, we could listen to you for a long time. You've been such a gift to us in the Archdiocese, chairing this so important board. And I want to thank you myself. I know Archbishop joins me in that, and we want to thank you for tuning into this strong and difficult show we've had here today. And we offer you the opportunity to learn more. Go to our webpage if you want more information. There's lots of information there about the review board and about our responses to the issue of child abuse. We thank you, and thanks for joining in today.